See, happy patients are usually happy to tell other people about their experience, but they don't always think about doing that. So if you can come up with ways to help them tell other patients about it, then you'll get more referrals.
Welcome to AMC. I'm Dr. Greg Miller. Do you know how to effectively grow your practice using online marketing? Today, Joel Slack is going to teach you how to get patients to follow you online. Don't miss his techniques for posting on social media. Let's get started.
After this talk, you'll be better equipped to present yourself to new patients and to educate your existing patients online. You'll see increased referrals and patient compliance in your practice as a result. Now, when it comes to your online presence, content and posts should have three main goals, and that's what we want to get to, each with increasing levels of commitment. First, we want patients to like us. Then we want them to trust us. Finally, we want them to follow us. So let's get started. When it comes to getting patients to like us, the most important thing that we need to remember, this is not really about you. The patients want to live their lives and do their own thing, and you're a means of getting there. So we're here to help them achieve the goals that they want for their lives. So the question is, how do we get people to like us online? Now, as simple as it sounds, we want to start off by being friendly and community-minded. It doesn't matter if you're the most amazing chiropractor in the world. If you come off as a jerk online, nobody's going to want to come visit you. So we want to make sure that we stay friendly. Also, we're in a very technical profession, so don't use big words that people may not understand. Try and keep it simple and understandable for the average layman. We also don't want to do anything that might be a divisive topic or super controversial because we don't want to run off patients if we don't have to. Now, any topic that we do discuss should be directly related to their health, or it should be something that's not really of a huge consequence. For example, if it's coming up on the Super Bowl, we could say something like, hey, this Super Bowl, we're rooting for whoever your favorite team is, but regardless of what team you're on, take care of your body. At the end of each quarter, get up, do a few stretches, and keep your body and your muscles active. That way, we've kept it light, but we've also kept it focused on health matters as well. If you're thinking about doing something that might be controversial, ask yourself, is this really worth losing, say, half of my patients over? If it's not, either adjust it or change how you want to do that. We want to keep open to the widest possible audience, regardless of who they are. Now, we also want to be approachable when we do this, particularly for your local market and your local populace. So we don't want to go out of our way to exclude anyone, but we want to reach the widest local audience that you can. For example, you could do something like, hey, we were super excited to get some fresh vegetables at the local farmers market last weekend. We got to see and chat with some of you. We were super excited. Diet and nutrition are a really important part of a healthy lifestyle, and we were really happy to be there for it. Now, this kind of thing can make you look like a regular in the community, and it keeps them focused on health. So it's a great way to show off that you're a regular person. Now, the thing you do have to remember here is that you're not here to be best friends with someone, right? You're a doctor with hobbies. You're not a hobbyist who also does doctor work. You're not equal to them in health, so you don't want to just come across as best buds with someone. Now, after we've worked on getting them to like us, we want them to trust us. So here's a couple things we need to consider. We need to answer these 4 questions that people are going to wonder when they know whether they should trust us or not. First, we need to answer the question, why are you the expert? Now, this is a really great place to explain how if they could do it themselves and they could get out of the situation they're in, they wouldn't need you. This is where you can show off what you can do. Second question we need to answer, do you really want what's best for me? Now, remember, you are the guide here who can give them a plan to get them back to doing what they really want to be doing. They don't want to spend a bunch of time in your practice, but they do want to live their lives, and you're the way that can help them get there. So it's your job to show them how you can help them do what it is that they really want to do. Third, you're going to have to answer the question, why are you better or cheaper, or why are you better than the guy down the street who might be cheaper or closer to me or more convenient? Now, this is where you're going to be able to step out and show the value and the skill that you have as a doctor. Fourth, if you're a new practice, you're brand new, you don't have any reviews or any patients yet, you're going to have to answer that question, how do I know you're going to be any good? This is when you can keep focused on health topics and explaining what's best for them to start to build that trust until you can get some more reviews from actual patients and people in the doors. So to answer these 4 questions, we want to focus on the following. First, don't get hung up on fancy terminology or gear or therapies. Remember, the patient wants you to help them achieve their goals. They want to know that you're on their side, and focusing on that will help build that confidence in people. Second, provide useful and actionable tips for their health in plain English. Remember, keep it simple. These are people who have busy lives, and they need to know what they can do to get better right away in ways that are not complicated. Third, make sure you present yourself and your staff professionally. They want to know that you're taking your job seriously before they will be willing to trust you. And finally, when it's possible, make sure that you share video testimonials from your patients. We'll go into more detail on this a little bit later, but having other patients share their stories is a really important part of your online presence. So, once we've gotten them to like us and they've got some trust in us, we want them to follow us. So, we want them specifically to do what we tell them in health-related matters. So, what are the couple things? We want them to come in and get checked out. And we want to ask them to help us in community-related projects. These are both going to be things where you want them to do what you ask them to do. So when we're thinking about this, there's one important question, and that is, who's your biggest competitor? Now, you might be thinking of someone down the street or nearby you, but it's not that. It's actually laziness, and I don't really mean that your patients are lazy. They're busy. How do you make it easy for people to follow your call to health? There's a couple ways you can do that. First thing to remember, keep your ask simple. Don't ask for a bunch of things at one time, and make it clear what it is you want them to do, and give them a motivating reason to do it. Now, motivating reasons can be a couple things. It can be financial, like a new patient special. It can be emotional. Hey, help them think about what they could get back to be doing, get them feeling about the way that they want to be. Or it could be something altruistic. Hey, come in and help us fill up the community food bank, something of that nature. These are all asks that you can help have patients come in and do. And remember, you want to keep it as simple as possible for patients to respond when you do ask. You don't want to make it hard. So if you're on videos or posts or something like that, make sure you include a phone number, email, web address, whatever, when you ask them to do something. And then make sure that you know when that's going out so that you have people ready to respond as soon as possible to those things. So once we've gotten them to like us, to trust us, and to follow us, we need to look at the audiences and the different types of people who are going to see your material so that we can focus on providing them each with the content that they need. Now, there's 3 main groups that you're going to be reaching online. Now, each one is important, and each one is going to need different types and amounts of content to get the best response and to reinforce that like, follow, and trust path that we have for them. We need to know what to say to get each group to get to step 3 to follow us and to keep them there. The first audience that we want to reach is new patients who don't know that they need a chiropractor. Now, the pros of this group is that they're going to need a lot of general education, and they might be really excited to find out that you can help them. They may not know. Now, the cons of this group are that they need a lot of general education. They may not know that you can help them, and they need a lot of that to get going. So this group might be willing to trust more other patients initially than they are to trust you. So reviews and testimonials from other patients can be really helpful for this group. So to target this group, you want to focus on things like success stories and general education. Now, this is going to be probably the slowest group to reach because they're going to need so much education, but the consistency of doing it regularly is going to be key for this group. Now, the second audience that you might reach are new patients who already know that they want a chiropractor for whatever reason. Now, the pros of this are that they're probably already looking for a chiropractor, so they're good with the idea of chiropractic in general. The downside to this is that they might be cross-shopping, or they might have had a bad experience somewhere else, and so they may be a little bit harder to reach in that area. Now, for this group, what you want to target is your expertise and the value you provide. Remember, going back to getting them back to what they want to be doing and focusing on that. Now, the third audience that you're going to want to reach are people who are already your current patients. Now, the pros to this are that they have probably already met you, they've been in your office, they know what you are, they might even be sold on continuing care plans or have personal knowledge of you and your staff. The downside to this group is that they are susceptible to getting busy. Maybe they're feeling better and like, oh, do I really need to continue this, or do I really need to stay engaged now that the problem that I had is starting to go away? You need to be kept front of mind with them so that they are regularly reminded of the importance of care that you provide and how you can keep them on the journey to doing what it is that they want to do. And they also need to be spoon-fed ways that they can tell other people about you. See, happy patients are usually happy to tell other people about their experience, but they don't always think about doing that. So if you can come up with ways to help them tell other patients about it, then you'll get more referrals. Now, this can bring in new patients, and it can help overcome the occasional bad experience that you have online, because regardless of how good you are as a doctor, you're still going to have those one way or the other. So the target for this third audience is just general education and friendly reminders to both keep them coming in and reminding other people about the great experience that they had. So once you know what path you want people to follow, to like them, to trust them, and then to follow you, and what audiences you're targeting, new to chiropractic, familiar but wanting a chiropractor, or existing patient, it's time to set your expectations and begin to implement your strategy. There are 3 expectations you need to remember before we go into the next part. First, people will not see every post. Facebook and every other social media is going to filter off the hundreds of people that are all posting, and they might only see every 3rd or every 6th post that you do. So you can't guarantee that they're going to see every post, which means you need to be posting regularly. Second, people are not most likely going to come into your office the very first post that they see. They're going to need multiple touches, as it were, before they are willing to engage with you. And then the third thing that we need to remember as an expectation is that you are going to have critical comments and reviews happen, and people are going to see those. So with those 3 expectations in mind, what do we need to do? Well, first, make sure that your website is professional and that it's easy to access you. Things like your contact information, your phone number, your email, a contact form, a map to show where you are in relation to them, and focused on that patient journey. How can you help them? On the front page of your website, in that first 30 seconds, the patient should be able to tell what it is you do, why they want it, and how they can get it from you. We want them to move to that follow stage as quickly as possible by giving them that information so it's not hard for them. Now, next, make sure you've set up or you've claimed your Google business page if you haven't already done that. Everybody searches Google these days when they're trying to look for stuff, and it's important that you set up your presence there. There are tools that you can use on there to do that. So encourage your good patients, your happy patients, to leave reviews. If you come across a negative review, hey, be quick, be empathetic with them, be ready to respond. Don't be hostile about it, but be willing to explain yourself. Make sure that other people who see that you are engaged and concerned about it, and that you are willing to do what it takes to make sure that the patient has a good journey. The other thing that you're going to want on here is quality professional photos. Think about homes for sale, right? Terrible pictures of a home for sale can make a house look awful, But you get a really great photographer in there, and even a house that's kind of mediocre for sale can look really great in pictures, and that gives a strong first impression. Now, the same thing's going to happen for your practice even before they walk in the door. If they have a good first impression and you're looking professional, it's going to give that patient confidence when they come in. Next thing you want to do is establish your business page on Facebook and Instagram. Now, here you want to plan on posting about 3 times a week with some general health information and other stuff. Remember, going back to our expectations, people are not going to see every post, so posting regularly is really important to making sure that they do see some of your posts when they come up. Great ways to post some of this information are things like asking open-ended questions to start a discussion, making sure that you've got someone in your office who's ready to manage that and help guide people if they do start engaging. One of those posts each week that you probably want to do is to go live or to post a video for one of those, because you'll get better reach and interaction. Facebook and Instagram will show that to a larger number of people than they would just posting some text or a picture. So that's a great way to extend your reach out with that. Finally, remember to present yourself professionally in these, as we talked about. Clean up any of the background clutter, make sure that your diplomas and things are visible if you want to do that. Dress up like the doctor that you are. You want people to know that you are serious and that you're caring about their health and their health journey. Also, in those posts, you want to ask once a week at least for them to do something, whether that's, again, helping with the community food bank or coming in to get checked out, something where you have an ask for them. Because remember, as we're moving them from liking to trusting to following us, we want to make sure that we actually have something for them to follow when we get to that point. If you don't ever ask them to do anything, they will never follow you. You need to make sure that you have those occasionally in there. Once you've set those up, you can move on to things like providing content on Twitter. Twitter, because of the way it's designed, is better for shorter, bite-sized type content. Things like infographics or brief health tips work really well. There are some online tools like Canva or Spark that you can put your logo on, your branding, and encourage people to distribute that and share it. And that's a really great way to get your name out there with general health information. Now, if you're going to places that are kind of newer or younger, like TikTok and places like that, remember, keep it professional. You do want to show that you are a healthcare leader. Even if you're going into places that trend to a much younger audience, you want to keep focused on health tips and presenting yourself in a proper way that will get people to trust you, so that when you ask them to follow you, you'll be ready to go. Also, don't forget about things like email and text messaging. Now, these are really best for your current patients, but they also work really well at keeping you top of mind for other people. Text reminders, occasional email newsletters, those are great ways to ensure compliance with your existing patients and keeping them top of mind so that they don't reschedule or forget their appointments or start to drop off later on in their care plan. Now, we've been through a lot, but these tools are going to help you move patients from liking you to trusting you to following you. And you know how to tailor your content for each audience. New to chiropractic, knowing about chiropractic but wanting a new one, and your existing patients. You also have a pretty good idea about the types and amount of content that you want to do on different things like your website and social media, such as Google, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with this information, you're better equipped to present yourself online to new patients and to educate your existing patients. You'll see increased patient compliance and better referrals in your practice as a result.
If this has been helpful, like and subscribe to be notified whenever new videos come out. As always, we're here to help. Text us any questions you have at 904-966-4996. AMC is your guide to becoming respected, effective, and valued in practice. See you next week.